Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF.
Hey, Kara Oostros here with RealAgriculture.com. I am back here today with another Pulse School episode, and I have here with me Lyle Jensen, who is with AgroPlus Inc. How's it going today?
Oh, pretty good. As you can see, we have a promising looking cloud behind us, although nothing's happened yet.
Crossing our fingers, we'll see what happens, but I mean, hey, if it's my luck, that's when we'll get rain, is when we're standing out in the middle of the field with camera equipment, hey?
Yep.
Anyways, we're here today to talk about pea leaf weevil. Now, the pea crop is just starting to emerge, but it's something you're really going to want to keep your eyes on as the weeks kind of come up. What can you tell me about pea leaf weevil?
Well, the first thing you're going to be looking for is that characteristic notching on the leaves. It kind of looks like it got hit with a paper hole puncher. Right now in this field, it's barely just emerging, so those first leaves haven't really unfolded yet. But that's going to be the first thing you're going to want to look for as you're scouting, is for those trademark notches on the leaves.
And what does the pea leaf weevil itself actually look like? Does it come out during the day? Can you see it during the day?
You'll see it during the day, but they're quite hard to see. They're quite small, just a couple millimeters in size, and basically dirt colored, which makes them nigh on invisible.
Do pea leaf weevils overwinter? Like, if you guys had issues, if there's a field that had issues last year, is there a good chance this year you're going to have issues?
There's a fairly good chance. A lot of the pressure from them can come whether they overwinter successfully or not. We had a fairly mild winter. There wasn't a whole lot of time we were below -30, so there's a good likelihood of heavy pressure this year.
And now we're, of course, standing in a very drought-stricken field, but there are parts of the prairies like Manitoba that it will not stop snowing. How does the pea leaf weevil feel about different weather conditions?
Well, I'm sure they can always find cover and survive wherever they are, but I know the mortality rate in the winter can get quite high when it's really cold if there is not sufficient snow cover for them to be insulated under, and I'm sure that holds true for leaf matter or straw in the field.
Where else are you going to see them? If there's neighboring, say, alfalfa fields, what are you going to see pea leaf weevil pressure there too?
Generally, yes. They really like to overwinter in alfalfa fields, and usually when the alfalfa starts to come out of dormancy is also when the pea leaf weevil and the alfalfa weevil will both become active.
And now, what kind of damage can it actually do to that final yield? Like, do you really have to be paying attention to that pea leaf weevil?
It can be somewhat significant. The above ground damage from the leaf notching is really, in the grand scheme of things, very minor. It's not really the adults that are causing the damage. It's the eggs that they're laying and the larvae themselves that cause the damage underground. And they do that by feeding on the nodules underground, depriving the crop of its source of nitrogen.
Now, what sort of, if we do we've had a bit of a cool, drawn-out spring, do they like those conditions, or do they like the heat? What are they looking for?
Generally, they will like cooler, moist conditions, from what I understand.
Okay. And what sort of thresholds are available for the pea leaf weevil?
Well, traditionally it was if there's more than, say, 3 notches on a plant or on 3 plants in a row in the seed row would kind of be your threshold. But in reality, the damage would have already been done, basically. Those eggs would have already been laid. So spraying at any point is more of a revenge activity to make you feel better. Probably won't have much of an impact on what's already happened. You're much better off to protect yourself with a seed treatment to start with.
Okay, and let's talk a bit more about that revenge spraying. When you go out and you're spraying just to kind of make yourself feel better, what else are you impacting?
Well, you'd definitely be impacting a lot of your other biologicals out there that would be beneficials. So things like ground beetles, for example, are predators of both wireworms and pea leaf weevil maggots. So that would be a beneficial that you would for sure be destroying.
So when they become, as you said, the larvae is kind of the most significant. So damage later on in the season, not as big of a deal?
Well, it can potentially be a big deal if you're seeing, limited nodulation, or you're seeing the larvae themselves actually feed on the nodules later on in the year. Then that can definitely have a significant impact on yield, and you may feel like you have to top up that nitrogen in that crop.
Okay, talk me through the process of what scouting for it's actually going to look like. You're going out with your shovel. What are you looking for?
Basically, you just be walking down the seed row, looking for emerged peas with unfolded leaves and counting notches.
What does your scouting pattern often look like? It's important to actually go and walk around the fields. Do you want to tell me why that is?
Well, it's kind of especially if it's a field you're unfamiliar with, you'd need to pretty much cover it almost corner to corner to see if there's anything you're missing. If it's a field you're very familiar with, like most of my fields, this field in particular here I've been working with for 6 years, so I tend to know where all the trouble spots are. So my scouting pattern seems to look more like a randomized loop as I go from spot to spot. And as you become more familiar with your fields, you know where to look.